Yeah, they're currently working on this contract, seeing where it's gonna go. I think they're gonna take care of it soon because I think that will be key, especially with securing all the coaches they have. But it also gets them on the headway to be able to get some of the free agents that they would like to keep on the team signed. One guy in particular, I hope we can obtain Osa. It just depends on his money count. But if they decide to move on from Osa, I can see them going into the draft getting a replacement. And I got a chance to see the Senior Bowl this past weekend. There's a lot of guys that's coming out that I think could be a solid replacement. But having the overall production that Osa has had, I think that's going to be something that really teeters to whoever is going to be a good suitor for him. I hope he comes back to Dallas. Another guy in particular that I think Dallas could bring in that could also add to the room is wide receiver. I can see Deontay Johnson being a guy that they could add to the mix depending on what you want to go with the wide receivers. And this wide receiver coach, he's a young guy. He can relate to the players. And he also has a flat top. Like he has a very high top flat fade. It's very unique. I haven't seen anybody with it in a long time. Last person I see to have that is a kid from Kid and Play. And that was years ago. But overall, I think for what the receivers have, especially with relating to a former receiver, I think that's going to help the wide receiver room. I would love for them to obtain Cavante Turpin to go with Deontay Johnson. I feel like Dallas has been lacking speed at the wide receiver position. And I think with them going under a physicality, especially with running the football, got to take the top off the defense. So if you want to bring in Deontay Johnson, that's cool. Or you can draft somebody in there. I think Jalen Tolbert might be on his way out. But if they do decide to keep him and add to the room, I think you should definitely add speed to the wide receiver room. Another player in particular that if you're not sure what you're going to do with your 12th round pick, I would plug in a future first, and I would go and get Myles Garrett. I think this will be a piece that could add to what Mike is doing on the defensive side with Sam Williams coming back from his ACL tear, and then you plug him with Marshawn Nealon. You'll have interchangeable pieces to add to the team, especially be able to set the edge. I think that would be a dynamic of a Batman and Robin when it comes to Myles Garrett and Micah Parsons setting the edge. But only time will tell with what they're going to do with that. I'm definitely getting my word out on just expressing that Dallas, do whatever you can. If you can't figure out what you're going to do with the 12th, bump the pick, add that with another pick, go get Myles Garrett to help your defense. And then along, you can still assist with working with free agency to get guys on offense. And then you won't have to stress so much on the draft because there's no way you could draft your way out of building for the team where I'm going to give some credit to the Joneses. At times, they do a really good job with some of their players, even if it's in free agency or when they draft. They rack up a pretty good amount of all pros. It's just the determination factor that beyond all these other awards, you need to go for the immortality of basically getting better results in the postseason. So I'm just to the point now, I think this year they really have to go heavily on free agency and then have the draft be something of a secondary for the team. And overall, some players have spoke on, I'll say this and I'm done, spoke on just having Schottenheimer there compared to McCarthy. And in their words, they feel like Shotty can get them to the promised land that McCarthy couldn't. And I think this is more under a young base to be able to relate with Schottenheimer as well as getting your first one. McCarthy already achieved his ring. And I think for this time around, I think the team is rallying so they all can search to get that first ring.